we're all whatever the top 1% of health and physical fitness. So it's not like the three of us were on our deathbed and we're miraculously healed.
Ah,
We're
yes and no.
enhancing
I
what
actually was.
Mhm.
you were.
Yeah, so when I saw this initially, I was wrestling at the University of Minnesota, and from 2000, well, 2010 to 2013 was when I was wrestling there, and ultimately suffered my fifth. If we're not using medical terms, I suffered
No,
my
you can't.
okay. I ultimately suffered my fifth concussion and was told I'd never compete again. I wasn't able to read I'm from Minnesota, so it was during the winter. And when I would walk outside, the sun would be beaming, and then it would hit the snow. And then the moment that hit the snow, it would hit my eyes and be super bright, and get a headache and have to go lay down. I had to stop going to meets. I could only make it like halfway through one of the meets because I would get excited, and then you're not supposed to get your heart rate up. So my
Right.
heart would just start beating and pumping because I'd be getting into it, and then I had a huge, massive headache. Sometimes have weird blurred vision, or it almost felt kind of like what some people would consider a panic attack, and I'd have to leave because I would get short of breath and would have to go lay down. So this was pretty much my life, and I had a buddy reach out to me who had a head injury. His name was Nathan France. He actually was the president for Kaiser Construction. It was the largest fire and water restoration company in the Twin Cities. And him and his wife were crushed by a 350-ton pickup truck, hit head on. Farmer fell asleep. He had to learn how to essentially walk, talk, and do all of that again. And this was the first thing that got him off of his discomfort medication. I won't use the other term, but he was taking about 18 Tylenol and ibuprofen a day. And he was going to the chiropractor. He reached out to me, said, Joel, I heard you have a head injury. I have one, you know that I've had one, and this is something that helped me recover from it. You're dealing from inflammation of the brain, and we have something that lowers inflammation naturally by up to 47% with one ingredient because we do food technology. I know you're big into health, so you should take a look at what I'm doing. So I sat down with him, and within 2.5 weeks, I was medically cleared to wrestle after taking the Betalin product, the anti-inflammatory, also known as what we call limitless. And again,
Right.
Betalin is simply just the anti-inflammatory property found in a beet. We extract it, put it in capsule form. We extract it from the sugar molecule. That's what the patent is. So our patent we bought from Futureceuticals was to extract the essential sugar molecule from the Betalin. So you just get the Betalin, right? Because
Right.
sugar is inflammatory. So in one of
Yeah.
these yeah,
Counterintuitive for sure.
yeah, exactly. So one of these capsules is 500 beats worth of Betalin, and that lowers cellular inflammation at the marker by up to 47%. We used to say in 90 minutes. Now we say 9 days because the body is different for everybody. I know for me, it was probably 90 minutes because when I take something, my body absorbs it like that because I am clean.
Yeah.
But other people, they might not be
I think
as clean.
also when people have had something very serious happen, what I realized that if people have hurt themselves now or it's something extreme, they seem to notice it pretty quickly. While like me, for example, who had joint issues, itis in my whole body, but it wasn't, it was just day to day life. It wasn't a big deal.
Lifeitis. Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
often have lifeitis.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to say it took about 2 months until I realized one day when I was in the gym that I did something that I'm not supposed to be able to do and it didn't hurt my knees. So I said for me, it took a little longer, but I wasn't having extreme things on a day to day basis. It was just the daily thing I always had.
And were you using at that time the immune or the limitless or both of them?
Both. I was
Both.
using these two. He was using the limitless only first.
Yeah, we didn't have the immune. Well, I've been here 10 years. And so we didn't have the Acemannan, we simply had our other proprietary technology. I mean, our energy, shall we say? I don't like to say energy drink because it has a nasty connotation with the industry and everything like that. But
It is what
we
it
A
is.
drink
we
that
have
makes
we have
energy.
an actual energy ATP booster that increases
Right.
cellular energy by up to 64%, hyperoxygenating the cells, and also as it does that, it doesn't increase free radical production. So it actually is an award-winning patented technology that when everybody tries our energy product, they are blown away and amazed. And I've tried everything. I've tried not illegal stuff, and I'm only natural, but like I've tried, Onnit's ATP booster. I've tried a lot of ATP boosters. There's nothing that compares to this, especially when you pair it with the all natural anti inflammatory. That's a little hack for anybody that wants it. Just put the Betalin capsule in what's called the fuel product, the ATP booster, and it's insane.
These are.
Hmm.
I have told you before. I spoke mainly about the Immune Limitless, but we have a lot of other products as well.
Yeah,
I think
I've only
everything.
had sort of a brief time period to
Yeah, so
explore.
everything essentially. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I've only had a brief period of time to explore the website. For me, typically what I'll do, and this is with anything, news headlines, I'll see something, and then I find 100 different avenues in that. So
Yeah.
just exploring one concept completely enough to understand it for
Yep.
all that it.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily take in an entire website and say, okay, I'm just going to take that for granted.
Yep.
Like when I first discussed the Acemannan, for me, that's what that was. I
hmm
need to know about this 100 different times from 100 different groups of people, and it's typically always the same thing.
Did you send
Its
him?
results are always astonishing.
Did you send him the Acemannan book, The Science Behind Aloe?
Yeah, I sent him all the research, the Buddhist
Okay,
research.
so there is a book. I will grab it quickly. It's called The Science
Where is it?
Behind. It's right in there, top shelf. It will be at the back. It's called The Science Behind Aloe, and it is the book that essentially goes over all of the science within Acemannan. All of the research over 25 years, it's in the top shelf there. You're just going to have to look for it. I'm not sure where I placed it. But if you want that book is absolutely incredible and will tell you absolutely everything that you need to know and the mechanism of function of Acemannan. This is what it looks like, the science behind aloe. It is by Bill H. McAnally. And these books go for a lot on Amazon because, in my opinion, they're trying to get them out of here because this literally tells you everything. It exposes everything. It exposes how they've been trying to get this passed, for the last 25 years. To the mainstream, but nobody wants to pick it up because of what it'll actually do in the human body. And what it does in the human body is it turns on the immune system better than anything else by activating your body's ability to create more stem cells. Our Acemannan does so by up to 400%. So when Sam Castor initially built Manitech, which was a $4 billion company off of this Acemannan technology, because he couldn't take it to he had to take it to market as a actual supplement product because the FDA wouldn't approve it as a drug because it wasn't toxic to the human body. It couldn't pass an LD50. So that is,
And
go
they
ahead,
have a very hard time with anything they can't patent,
bingo.
which is why so few of us know about plants in general,
Yeah,
fungus in general, bacteria, right? Even people's understanding of probiotic. Oh, if I eat a Yoplait yogurt that's loaded with sugar, it's probiotics on the front, my tummy's just going to be better.
yeah,
No, not. All that shit is dead that's in there,
yep.
and it's loaded with carginin and corn syrup
hmm
and every manner of sweetener you can possibly imagine. It needs to be alive.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
As well. Um, quick side note: I grew up in a house with aloe plants,
Oh, beautiful.
so it was every cut, every scrape,
hmm
every burn.
Yes,
You didn't know as a kid why it worked.
yep.
It just worked. The
hmm
tissue just healed.
Yes, exactly. And Acemannan is that healing property, but it starts dying after you cut it open. It's only active at most, I think they said, for like 3 minutes. So if you have to apply it on immediately, but that's why we use food technology to extract it, stabilize it through a patented process, and then give it to people because that is what their body needs to heal.
I have seen a few very expensive studies in which physicians and chemists were able to stabilize it for up to a year.
Yep.
But as they put it, it was impractical and unaffordable,
Yeah.
which I never believe. What I believe is unpatentable and not profitable enough.
Yeah.
That was the thing about the mRNA technology, and Fauci flat out said this in 2018. What we will be able to do is send viral information or genetic code anywhere in the world and print a vaccine. So
Yeah.
no 10 years of growth, no trial and error, just you send me the info, I'll put it on my printer, and we can stick it in somebody's body. That's an incredible profit model.
And now 23andMe, you look at 23andMe, all of those, all of the founders and all of the board members got out of here. Once it got exposed, hey, I wonder what they did with all of that information because Big Pharma owns that information now. That's who
Yes.
they were selling it to. So there you go. And this was all
Yep.
designed to be a bioweapon for humans. That's what
Yeah.
the patent was for.
I personally believe it was meant to exclude some particular genetic codes, but we won't get into that.
Yeah. Well, yes, I agree.
This is a good man.
Yeah, he knows his
Yeah,
stuff.
I know.
Absolutely. I love it, man. Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, just to give a quick recap and overarching theme of what we do for those that don't understand it, we do food technology, patented food technology that you can't get anywhere else. We put it into lifestyle enhancing biohacking products that you obviously take on a day-to-day basis. People are obviously taking energy drinks. People are obviously, but it doesn't increase cellular production. It just actually pulls from your adrenals and creates adrenal fatigue. They're drinking their coffee, but it's a low
Yep.
quality coffee. Everything that we do infuses our Acemannan technology. So now when you're drinking that ATP booster and lowering cellular inflammation, you're pumping your body full of stem cells.
Max, I know not in great deal, but your background as a competitive figure, bodybuilder.
Bikini.
Um, Joel, and actually, let's get into what you're doing now
Me?
as part of
Mm-hmm.
now
Well,
that you switched careers. What are you doing now?
Well, I've always done obviously marketing and content, which I still do, but my focus in creating content right now has been for this mission. So, same, I've been into health forever because my mom has been sick my whole life. So, I've always been passionate about holistic health, never really trusted the medical system. Even when I was a kid, I would go there, but I would always question it. Then I started health coaching, which I've done for a long time, but it was more training and fitness related for a long time until I started realizing that if your body isn't functioning optimal, if you're not feeling well and your body doesn't work, this training and counting macros doesn't matter anymore. So I put all of my effort into actually helping people get their body to function, because then everything is just going to come with it. Like, people want to lose weight. If we fix your body, the weight loss will come, or you want to gain weight, or everything. So I kind of switched around my coaching maybe about 4 years ago. I had a client of mine that, she was like a star client. She was doing everything perfect, the training and the food and everything, but it just didn't seem to work. So I started talking to her a lot, and it turned out that she was going through hell in her life in every possible way: work, relationship, children, everything was just shit. So am I too close? So we just started talking, and fast forward about a year later, she made a complete turnaround in her life. She left her husband, she left her job, moved somewhere with her daughter, and ever since that day, she's still my client to this day, 4 years later, and she's just shining. Everything works. All the weight just fell off of her. And it was just, everything, she was just blocked up of shit, basically. So in I'm going to say maybe January this year. I've always liked aloe vera, same. I used to work for a huge aloe vera company in Sweden when I was young for about 7 years. But it was like a aloe vera juice company, or aloe vera juice and gel.
Right.
And I knew it was good. You know, you put it on your skin, it's good for your wounds and everything. But that was about all I knew about it. Happened to see this Joel on Alex Jones. And I've known about him for about 4 years. And, you know, we would talk on occasion, but I never saw his content because I don't sit and search for things. And he's obviously shadow banned just like me. So somehow this podcast pops up. Universe puts it there for me. And all I heard him say was, as above, so below. I'm like, what did he just say? And then I started watching and listening, and he said, oh, you know, I want to eradicate childhood malnutrition. And I've been for the last 2 years trying to figure out a way to help kids. I just wasn't sure what avenue to do. I was talking to people that work with child trafficking, and I was like, I want to do something. I just don't know what it is yet. And then I watched his podcast, and I text him or called him or something. I said, tell me everything. What is this? So he sent me information, and I said, you know, I'm very interested. I want to do this. I want to help kids. And then I took, I don't know, every night I was up till like 3-4 in the morning, just like watching videos and reading things and ordered the products. But I think I told him before I even had an experience, I said, I want to do this. You know, I want to be on board on this and help the kids. So I started it only with the intention to help kids. I didn't actually know what it was going to do for me. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't see myself as having issues because I just learned to deal with them. I have a world champion title, even though I have issues in my whole body. So I just live with it. I've just learned how to live with it, you know, through rehab. And I had a team of 3 rehab people that would help me every week to get to that world title. And started taking the product. And the first thing I noticed was we have a diosgenin technology that helps regulate hormones. So about 2 weeks in, I think it was, I realized that I didn't know I was ovulating, which has never happened. I usually get very swollen. I get pain. My ovulation is worse than my period, which it's been for a very long time. Same, you know, where I'm a woman, that's just how it is. And I look on my app and I was like, that was last week. So I was like, that's crazy, you know? So that was my first story. Then fast forward, every now and then I would go to the gym and I would text him and say, I don't know what's going on. I'm just very strong, you know? I would do way more reps than I typically can. And I mean, I have had this, I have a fake arm, and my wrists have always been some of my worst, my wrists and my knees. And they wouldn't really give up when I was training, which, you know, was huge, but it wasn't like a massive change like that. Then about 2 months in, I can't remember what I did, but I did something. I stepped wrong or did something weird, which I just know I do that now. I'm not training for a few days. And it didn't hurt. I was like, look at that. And then I actually sat down and did an interview with Kimberly, my friend, who is 63 years old, really bad joint discomfort everywhere. As I'm interviewing her and she's telling me about all of her issues, I was like, wait, that used to be me too. She was telling me how she couldn't open jars with her hands. I'm like, I've never opened jars. I just ask somebody or take a spoon to pop them because I can't open them. And now I can. And the same, I always used to say, don't even think about it, but I used to have to hold myself in the wall to sit down on a toilet seat. And I mean, all of that is bye-bye. And this one I can't really explain, but I was born with scoliosis. And I haven't necessarily done a test or anything, but I have not felt any discomfort from scoliosis in this entire year. And if you have scoliosis, you know, like you feel things when you sleep or when you sit in a car or whatever. Like we've done like 18-hour drives here, and I don't feel anything.
Kyphosis, so mine's the other way. It's front to back.
Yeah.
I'm never, ever, ever comfortable. I have not been comfortable in nearly 45 years.
There you go. So that might be your, I mean, you probably have things like that are your big things, but then there might be small things like I used to have hair extensions for 8 years. I don't have hair extensions anymore because my hair is thick now. And like the smell starts to get better. I realized someday I didn't think my smell was bad in any way, but I've started smelling things that I never smelled before.
That's a big story that comes out for a lot of people. I had really bad allergies growing up. I grew up on a farm, was the
Oh,
only African
thanks.
American in a small community of Norwegians. My dad grew up on the same farm that my dad grew up on. He did, we had pigs growing up, cows. He got out of farming, and then I mostly did chickens and horses, and I was allergic to everything. I was allergic to horses, even though I rode them. They did the back prick test. And ultimately, I think that it was the food that I was eating, looking back at it, because my parents, they didn't necessarily have the same information that I have now on food.
Right.
And I think I was just very inflamed by the foods that I was eating, and then I would react to everything around me. But I was literally allergic to everything besides foods. All 50 tests that they did, everything came except the foods. That created also what they said was asthma, which slowly went away once I learned how to breathe properly out of my nose. And I read the Hindu yogi science of breath when I was in the 6th grade, and it changed everything for me as far as that. But I could never smell out of my nose. I could never smell. And it wasn't until about my 3rd month here on the Betadine product, the anti-inflammatory, that I noticed, wow, I can smell again. I can smell everything. And food tasted better. I didn't know that food was, your smell was connected to taste. I had no idea. Like people would always watch me. I would just shovel food into my mouth because I guess I never really tasted it. And now, I eat a lot slower than I do because I actually enjoy tasting foods. And being in New Mexico, green chili is on everything. So it's pretty cool.
Which is probably better for you as well.
Yeah, not even
Most
so bad.
digestion happens in the mouth.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And I always had bad
So
digestion.
we know she was a bodybuilding competitor. You mentioned wrestling in college. What continued after that, and how have the products helped you in that, or how have they helped you in that?
Yeah, so I continued to kind of compete after college wrestling. I wanted to be a national champion, and then I was either wanting to be a Green Beret or a Navy SEAL, and I just wanted to be a badass, right? But when I heard Sam Castor talking about saving the world's children with this technology, Bruce Lee was my idol growing up. I always wanted to fight mixed martial arts. I was always obsessed with the samurai and warriors and warrior
Same.
philosophy. I read the book of Hagakure and then the book of 5 Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. And I was just always fascinated. The Tao of Jeet Kune Do by Bruce Lee. I studied fighting. And when the UFC came out, I rented a game for the Sega Dreamcast. That was a UFC game. And it was with Tito Ortiz on the cover. And I said, if this is real, someday I will do this. And
I got to
so,
do this.
yeah, someday I will do that. And it wasn't until I was sitting in the crowd one day and I had my life back. I was healthier than I had ever been. I was jacked. I was feeling incredible. And I was just like, I'm going to fight to save kids. If I become the biggest fighter on the planet, I will be able to essentially get this mission out there to the world about our mission to eradicate childhood malnutrition from the planet. Because when we get 3.5 million people on our product line and in our Buy One Nourish 2 program, effectively taking 2 products a day or 2 servings a day, we will reach the 7 million children dying every year from malnutrition. So I'm like, well, that's not that hard. There's a lot of companies out there with millions of people taking their products every day. I was thinking about Gatorade and Powerade and all these other things that were terrible for people. And here we have an energy drink that increases cellular energy by 64%. I know it makes me feel incredible. It was way ahead of its time 10 years ago, and it's still ahead of this time, in my opinion, today. So I said that I would do everything. And as a fighter, I had to watch two of my idols deal with, let's just say, inflammation. Growing up, there was a gentleman named Tory Line. Tory Line was one of the most prolific wrestlers in Minnesota history, and I grew up watching him. I grew up almost wrestling with him. He was a few years older than me, but I wanted to be just like Tory Line, and he was going to be a 3-time state champion for Minnesota, but then got cancer. And the U of M honored his scholarship because he was the #1 wrestler in the nation. And so when he was at the University of Minnesota, that was another reason why I went there, because I wanted to follow in Tory Line's suit. But he never got to wrestle because the cancer ended up taking his leg. And I learned that, inflammation is the root of every bad thing that happens in the body. And so it was kind of a way to pay homage to him. And then another wrestler that was one of my idols, his name was Jake Deitzler. Jake Deitzler was the first Olympic 18-year-old from Minnesota. He was actually the first 18-year-old to ever make it to the Olympics in Greco-Roman wrestling. And he was from Anoka, Minnesota. And I grew up watching him. And he had to give up wrestling. He actually gave up wrestling when I was there. He actually came back because he had to take a hiatus due to head injuries, just to give you an idea. And when we were out in Pennsylvania one day, wrestling at the national championships for team, he came downstairs, and my other teammate Kevin was downstairs, and it was like 2 a.m, and he's like, "Jake, what are you doing?" And he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know why he went down the stairs. A couple weeks later, he officially retired from wrestling, and that year that he came back was his first year in college, and he was supposed to win a national title. And I got to watch that, and I said that if I have a way now to help other people deal with their head injuries, every fighter should be on this product line. Every football player should be on this product line. Anybody suffering from anything CTE or anything, concussive, or anything inflammation of the brain, or any type of brain issue should be on this. Even Alzheimer's and dementia stems from inflammation. So I just thought, one of my mentors, he was a very successful man. He retired himself in one of the first and biggest network marketing companies 30 years ago, opened it up in Brazil and India, and then came out of retirement to do this. And he looked at me and he said, "Joel, inflammation is pain alone is a $500 billion a year industry. We have the world's most powerful anti-inflammatory on the planet that comes from food, one ingredient. So when the world figures out about this in the next 10 to 15 years, and this was 10 years ago, when the next 10 to 15 years, we'll be one of the biggest companies on the face of the planet. I just want 1/2 of 1% of 500 million. I want 1/2 of 1%, and you're officially, you're done. But not only are you done, you eradicate childhood malnutrition from the planet." And so that kind of sparked the idea of all of it. And I said that if, I can become rich in the process of helping people and helping the world, I will live off of 1% of my income and donate the rest so that we can actually make change. Because I feel like Bill Gates and all these other people who are billionaires that are getting rich off of hurting people with their technology could do what I do. They could live off of 1% of their income and donate the rest, but they don't want to. So if they won't, I will. That's why I do everything that I do.
Then
Yeah, I think the idea is that the lot of us, as we connect and compare notes and share information, get people tuned in on the right things, the goal is to make their income source obsolete.
Yes.
They're not going to relinquish their power. They're not going to relinquish their control. It's the principle that I guess even at the base of capitalism, you provide a better product at a lower price that makes more sense and does less damage, it'll keep finding itself. So it's a constant connection with people.
Yeah. What we say
What do you
is,
have for? Give me your information, point me in the right direction.
yep. What we
And
say
if you're
is,
doing it right, people notice.
yes. What we say is replace spending, save money, get healthy. This is the hope movement. This is what we do. We provide hope to people because hope is if you can give somebody hope again, you give them their life back. Do you know how many people I've seen who literally will tell me that I've given them their life back? I got my life back on this product line. Who am I to then not share it? I was growing up, I was made fun of as a kid because everybody, I was called Bible boy. I wanted to lead everybody to Jesus, right? That was my whole thing. That was my whole shtick. And I look at that even in today and how it kind of translate. I can't sit here and have somebody tell me about something that they're going through and then not share this. Whether or not they decide to do it, I don't care.
Early in my journey here, I was approached to a person that had bone marrow cancer, and the doctors told him he had about 2 weeks to live, maybe. He was getting blood transfusions every other day or so. That was the only thing keeping him alive. So I told him about this, and apparently he just said that was God put me there because he had already seen a video about this before I reached out. And he said, first I asked him, are you ready to leave? And he said, I don't really know. I said, well, if you're ready to go, I hope you had a great life. But if you still have a will to live, let me know. So I hope, yeah. So he texted me back about a day or two later, and he said, I don't want to die. Please tell me what to do. So we go on a phone call. I obviously tell him about the product. I ordered the product. That was right in the beginning. I'm sitting there. I was like, what do I do? Like, do I place an order for myself or for this man? So I ended up buying a bunch of the Acemannan for this man. Also talking to him about just food in general and lifestyle, meditation. I sent him some meditations. And fast forward a couple of weeks in, I kept checking in. Are you okay? Are you okay? Is he still alive? And I heard back from him about 3 weeks in, I think. And he said, well, guess what? I haven't had more than one blood transfusion this week. And I was like, first of all, he already passed the time of what he was supposed to be here. And then, time goes by. I keep talking to him. And after about a month or two, about a month, 4 or 5 weeks, he says, you know what? I feel really good, actually. And then now we're on, it's probably been about 2.5 months, and he lost, actually, first he lost 45 pounds. So this man was very overweight. And only in the last 2 weeks also, he's at 112 pounds down now. He feels incredible.
Yeah, that'll help a lot right there.
Yeah. And
it's a huge challenge to the body. People don't understand that, and the media and medicine obviously are not going to disclose that either. The whole body positivity movement, I think, has been one of the most harmful things to come out of the last decade.
And then with the Acemannan also helping the body function and the metabolism and the digestion and everything, it's just helping everything be better. And now, fast forward, because when we talked in the beginning, he said to me, because I told him to go carnivore for this, and he said, well, I don't know, I really like beer, he said. I was like, well, when the cancer is gone, you can have a beer. Fast forward, he doesn't even have a desire or a craving for anything bad anymore.
That's what happens.
Yeah, inflammation feeds on sugar. Yep. Parasites feed on sugar, and that's what's more sugar than the empty carbohydrates and sugar of alcohol.
Yep. Exactly.
Yuck.
So that was one of my first people I helped, and I said, and I'm sitting there. They told him he was gonna die, and who am I to come in and help this man? I was like, holy shit! Like, I already know the system is fucked up, but yep.
But we're taught that, all of us have lived that. I've lived that. You've lived that. There's not conventional wisdom, but conventional rhetoric. We spend our whole lives listening to the change, or the witnessing the changing face of medicine and food and marketing. I was born in 1973. When I was a child, there was a repeating commercials, 2 of them I remember. 1, milk, it does the body good. Number 2 was the incredible edible egg. Now those 2 things are bad, right? I drink roughly 2 gallons of raw milk every week. I get eggs out of my backyard. I eat a ton of free-range eggs. I am not dead yet, but as it should be, what they tell me, my cholesterol should have spiked so far that all of my arteries are clogged, and I expired years ago, and I'm just here as a ghost. But
they also don't tell you that the body needs cholesterol.
that only modern medicine can help us. So even those of us that know better still have this ingrained concept that these things should not be possible. I should not be able to ingest a compound from a common plant and heal myself. There has to be a pill I should be taking to do this.
That's the greatest psyop of all time, is that food doesn't heal the body. And how many doctors were trained on nutrition? None of them. That's why we do nutritional food technology, because food technology, whether anybody wants to realize it or not, and biohacking is the way of the future. Tony Robbins says that the next $1 trillion industry, in his book Life Force, his brand new book Life Force came out 2 years ago. He talks about the next $1 trillion industry will be called de-aging, and how you successfully de-age is you lower cellular inflammation and find a way to supplement or increase the body's stem cell production. And naturally, through our product line and through our food technologies, we do that. I am 33, just turned 33 in June. I am young. I look younger now than I do. I could pull up a picture from 10 years ago at my first professional photo shoot, and you can see the difference in my skin and in my face. It's incredible. I feel better now than when I wrestled at the University of Minnesota. And I also feel like it's because I learned about food. The first
Right.
23 years of my life, I had no idea. I was eating oatmeal cream pie cereal after football
Right.
practice. You know, I had no idea what I didn't know. I would eat 24 fruit snacks, artificial dyes, flavors. I loved candy. I had no idea. And now it's like I can't even eat that stuff. I will be out. I'll be out because
I
my
can't
body
even
just,
see
Well,
these things anymore.
you feel the poison in it. I do.
yes, exactly.
But I'm also 51. I look 51 and I earned it. So I don't have a problem with that. But
Not so much longer
I
though.
don't feel like I did in my late 30s. I can say that.
We'll change it.
Yet.
I definitely feel better. I'm stronger. I'm larger.
Yeah, we'll change it.
I might not be faster, but I'm
That's
definitely more.
that's my other story. So I'm here now at the Jackson Wink MMA. I moved in here to fight MMA, and I'm not supposed to be able to do that. I'm not a functional person. I was a visual, good, muscular looking person thanks to peptides and rehab people, and just a stubborn mind and just pushing through the pain. And now I don't have the pain. I've been hurting myself a little in practice, but
Because she doesn't wrap her wrists like she should be before she knows how to
you
punch,
know.
I
which will
seem to
mess up
remember. I
anybody.
seem to remember not 36 minutes ago her talking about her wrists. Actually, Maaxx, wrap your wrists. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I did one practice, but I messed up my toe. And what have I done since I come in? I messed up my toe, I messed up my knee and my chest, but all of that is good.
It's a regular day of
I
in
just
the
take
office.
like yeah, I mean, we're here for
I
that.
trained Japanese jiu-jitsu for over a decade,
Yes.
so I remember. Now that was in my mid-20s, but I remember the impact.
And it's the
I
small injuries.
remember.
Yeah.
I remember the strain on the joints. Those are probably things that allow me to remember my technique. How did it hurt and
Yes.
why?
Yep.
But that's how you
That's how
learn.
I remember those moves. Oh yeah, that pain.
Yeah. That's exactly how you learn. So yeah, she's actually been doing very, very well. She's training at a hard and high pace, and it's cool because, you know, if she said that she was 39, a lot of people wouldn't believe that, right? And if I tell people, you know, I'm 33. I mean, I carry myself, I believe, as a little older and wiser. But, you know, if you, again, put pictures side by side, you would probably think I was older 10 years ago just because of the inflammation in my face. And I looked older.
I think I might have carried more. I went through 9 herniated discs and subsequent doctor-provided opioid problems.
Wow.
So I can guarantee that I was in rougher shape then than I am now.
Yep.
But 50 is still 50. I mean, there are components to that They just are what they are.
Of course.
We can continue to improve, but
Mhm.
there's still an expiration someday.
Yeah. Well, I
But
look forward.
not as early as we're told, though.
Yes, I look forward
No,
to you.
not
I look forward to you
not even.
being on the product line for sure.
What's that?
I look forward to you being on the product line and the food technology for sure.
Yeah, me too.
It's going to
I
be
still
awesome.
have yet to place an order. I am also stubborn.
Yes, I know. But this
I didn't
interview
hit.
here, whenever it does happen, and then we're going to do this again later on, and then we'll put these conversations side by side.
Yeah, I mean, when I ignored my friend for 9 months, and it wasn't until I was on my deathbed. The real story is I was on my deathbed. I was going to commit suicide. I was drinking and smoking myself to sleep every night, being sorry for myself, saying, "Poor me. I was supposed to be a national champion. Now I'm never going to be able to be an athlete again." And if you're an athlete your
Right.
entire life, and it all gets taken away from you, and now I potentially can't fight. Now I potentially can't be a Green Beret or a Navy SEAL. Then what am I here for? Like, I just ruined all my chances. So I ignored my friend for 9 months until he called at the right time and said, "Hey, I have something. I heard you have this. You should take a look at what I'm doing." And 10
Right.
years now, my life has completely changed. I'm on a completely different trajectory than I ever would have been before. And I owe that man my life. And now I have people telling me that they owe me their lives, and nobody owes me their life. I just am so grateful that they gave me their ear, they gave me their trust, and their lives are different because of it, because I'm not doing this for me. I am doing this for other people. And if I can
So
help other people, it's awesome.
that's an interesting point, and that's how I connect with people. I'm here to serve. This is a term of service.
Yeah.
I do what I'm called to do.
Yep.
And regardless of how I pursue that, what information I'm digging into, what I'm providing, what I'm trying to do for myself and I'm sharing with other people, I get nothing out of this.
Yes.
I'm just doing this because this is the path that I've been shown
So
that I
maybe
need to
we
follow.
are the ones who will give you something for it. You keep doing you, and then we'll make sure you get what you deserve.
And that's the point. Give and receive.
I'm alive.
Yeah.
That's what I deserve.
Same. Well, we appreciate you, man. Hopefully that helps. Do you have any other
Same.
questions?
I don't. And I think, again, this is, I do collaborations with a number of people, and it's sort of an ongoing dialogue, right?
Mhm.
So what are we into next? Where are we at with this product or with this information? It's, continuing to track that path,
Yes.
reconnecting. Hey, this is where we're at. I've got new stuff for you. It's enhancing a relationship that we have with the public that's listening.
Love that.
It's not just being a face on the internet.
Like
It's
that.
being a part of a larger family. I don't have a large Instagram following. It's only like 70K, I think.
You have a
But my
good private
important
group.
one,
Mm-hmm.
what's that?
Well, your private group. I said,
Yeah,
what is the
so that's what I was
700
going to
people?
say. The
But people are
important one to
very.
me is 750 people in Telegram.
Mhm.
Those are the listeners, the doers, the thinkers. Those are the people that are also seeking information and sharing it back to the community. That's the family to me, the Telegram.
And what I'll say is this: everybody that's listening or does listen to this, if you take the Betalin technology and you take Acemannan for 90 days, in my opinion, there is no way that you don't have a result. Whether you feel it or not, I would hyper suggest that you go get some blood work done beforehand to show yourself the inflammatory markers and where they were at in your body, because after 90 days, you will see a dramatic difference. We can't say that we have patented technology that does these things if they don't do these things. So if you give us 90 days, every cell in your body will be essentially brand new after that time. And you can't lower cellular inflammation and pump your body full of stem cells and food technology and not have a result. So hopefully that helps. And I look forward to hearing some more incredible stories.
Right on. Thanks for catching up with me on a Sunday.
Always. And we'll send this to you
Max,
ASAP.
wrap your wrists.
Say that again.
They said, Max, wrap your wrists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I
Yeah.
have to go through all of these things to learn.
You do.
Yeah,
You do.
but I'm healing fast. And then I messed up my toe one day, and it was bad. My foot swelled up, huge blue. I couldn't even sleep that night. I took probably 4 beta lanes, and the day after it was fine.
You're lucky you got food technology.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice meeting you, bro. This was awesome. Thank you for you.
You as well. Take care, and we'll catch up again.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thanks.